This lesson is all about strings. You will be asked to create a hangman game, and some of the helper functions have already been decomposed in the Jupyter notebook that's associated with this video. Just know that that game can be completed, that assignment can be completed with the base string methods in Python. So understand that the regular expressions videos that we're going to do in the next two lessons are basically above and beyond the scope of the course, but know that these tools are directly transferable to R. So if you learn them now, or at least get exposed to them, know that I mean, sort of like this mini language, and you can kind of see down here, this mini language is very, very powerful of pulling things out and doing any kind of text analysis type of stuff. So if your research is going to go in that direction, or it may possibly go in that direction, just know that those two videos that I'm going to produce after this one are based on the very good expressions, and they'll help you not just in Python but in R as well. All right, so we need to get going. And so you can see some of the things. So strings, we're going to do base Python, and then I'm going to import the string library. This is not regular expressions. This is just this little string library that has some things in there, and I just wanted to show you what those suckers look like. All right, so F9, F9. So you guys have seen this before, where I've taken alpha, and then I didn't really have to redo this. I could have put alpha list in here, but it looks like I redid everything. So alpha list is a list of letters. And again, you guys have seen that before. But what happened, or how can we join this thing together? So let's do the join method, right? So join, and then you tell it what thing you want to have in between there. So you get F9. Oops, yeah. You got to actually tell it to what list. So the list actually goes in here. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. The list. So it's alpha. So if you put a list inside this join method, what it'll do is it'll take every element of that list and it'll put a space in between it. I think maybe minus the first one, but we'll see. Yeah. So you can see the first one didn't get one, but then in between A and B, it put a space. If you don't recognize that, or it doesn't make any sense, just put a comma in between each one of them. So join alpha underscore list F9. Right? And so you see that there's a comma, not a comma at the first or at the end, but in between each one of these suckers, there's a comma. All right. So let's do this val. So I don't know why I call it val. I think maybe I got this from someone else. But val. So val is this string. And what if we wanted to get rid of all these commas? Well, one thing we might think about doing is val.split maybe. So I'm going to turn this thing into some. So here are some interesting ways to do this. Well, instead of getting rid of just the commas, what if I just wanted to have each word, like I'm trying to maybe count the number of words in a document, but I don't care about the commas. So that this will get us close, right? So I got here, I get R some, I got this space there. Maybe we do a split, val split, and then maybe do, oh yeah, there's other ways to do this. So val.split, if I wanted to now have every word come out, maybe doing something like that, but in here now we get a comma in there, you got a comma over here, and so on and so forth, right? So that's not the word here. That's the word here with a comma in it, and that's how Python will see that one. So maybe we do something like this. Let's start off with a list. So C for C in val, if not. So here's one of the C dot is for C in val, if not C is alpha. Let's see here. So C alpha. So not. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a list of all of the things in here that are not alphanumeric, or I'm sorry, or not alphabetic. So this is alpha is not alphanumeric. So there is an AL num, but this one's alpha. And you can look up all of the different methods that go along. So C is going to be a string, and string has this is alpha thing, and it would basically tell you if it's a, so let's see. So I get a comma, I get a space, I get another space, I get a comma, I get a space. Okay, so I don't necessarily want the spaces in there either. So how about putting in an or, C dot is space. I believe that's it. I think I had to look this one up earlier today, so I think this one is it. All right, so now we get a little bit less. And really what I'm thinking is the punctuation. The only punctuation that are in here that I care about getting rid of is the comma. So I'm looking for one comma and one period. But the problem is I'm getting a comma, a comma, a comma, and a period. So I don't like that either. Oh, what we can do is a set. I can do set notation. So I don't think I've even talked about this yet, but a set notation will give you, it won't reproduce things. So if it's already in the set, it won't put another one in there. So I'm going to do set comprehension instead of list comprehension and try to do that. That's what let's find out if it happens. All right, so now we get the comma and the period and not multiple ones of these. This one would work too. I'm not super upset about this thing right here, but I'm just trying to make it as, sort of unique as possible. All right, since we got that, then we can say, all right, I'm going to set this thing called not letter equal to this thing that we just created. So let me copy this. See, so it's not a letter, and we get that. And then let's do this. C in val if e not in not letter. I guess that's a little crazy. I probably could have made that a little bit. So not in not letter. It's kind of funky. Let's see what that does. And it looks like it's doing what we want, right? So it's taking all the commas, it's taking the periods out. So how can I use that? Well, let's call this thing words is equal to, and notice that there's no space in between here. So that, and I'm gonna do a dot join, and exactly what I just got written here. So I'm gonna just copy and paste it. Control V. And enter. So what is words? So then we can just print words. Here are some interesting ways to do this. And if we want it to be, if we want to put it back into a list, we can just say words equals to words. And if you do dot split, and maybe we put a space in between each one of them now, and then print. All right, so we've done, I think, what we want to do. So I've basically taken out all of the non-alpha things that were in there, and I have here, I have R, so now I could go count these things, right? So I can do whatever I want to. This will be my data, if you will. Okay, that's sort of an introduction. I think if you understand the things that are inside here, you can basically do what I'm asking you to do in the Python or the Jupyter Notebook. So you can make those helper functions, I believe. I don't think there's anything extra that you need to be able to do. Maybe remembering some of the other things, like if you had two strings. Okay, so I'll do that real quick. Maybe remembering if you had A plus B, what does that do? It puts them together. And then we'll do some other things down when we get down here that you might have to remember as well. All right, before I get there, let's import this string library. So what this thing does is it gives us some pretty cool, so I don't necessarily, I could have done this exact same thing up here without doing this not let business first. And let me show you what I mean by that. So if I print this punctuation off, look what it does. It goes in and says these are all the things that are punctuation. So if you want to get rid of something, then you can run it through this thing to get rid of it, and we'll see that here in a second. But let's look at all of them. So it's got digits, so that's just a string of digits, and that's fine. White space. So if we do white space, ooh, look what it does. It does something funky where it clears the screen. So what I had to do was I had to do the representation of that, and so if you do that, Then you get, so it's a space, a slash T, which is a tab. That's a white space. A new line is a white space. That's a return. This one is, I don't know. Let's run it. Control. So print. Control B. Oops, I forgot to put this. And you can use double quotes if you want to. Oh, there's some funky little, I don't even know what that is. It's a circle with an arrow on it. And then I think this one must be the clear space. Like X0C is going to clear the space. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there you go. So it cleared it. All right, so now let's do string printable. So let's look at printable characters. And so you can see all of these and look at what it did. That's why I had to do the representation of it, because, and that's why it gives us this instead of taking off the string, sort of the quotation marks or the single quotes. This thing right here would have cleared the screen and we wouldn't have been able to see it. So that's why I had to do the representation of it. And then string, so ASCII letters. So if you want to look at all the ASCII letters, they're there. ASCII uppercase is all those. And so just know that this string library is out there and they have some very helpful things in there that you can use. So you don't have to maybe do something unique. I mean, this unique thing I wanted to show you because this allows you to be a little bit more powerful than just using somebody else's stuff, right? I could choose not to get rid of the, so let me print those out. So punctuation. Say for instance, we wanted to keep all of our parentheses in, or all of our brackets, or we want to do something else, but I definitely wanted to get rid of the periods and the commas and all that stuff. Well, this, being able to do it like this, makes your code, or ability to code this thing, is just a little bit more powerful. But there are some very helpful things that are in here. Yeah, so I actually meant to delete this, so I have this thing put together. Let's just look and see what it does. So this thing actually does exactly what we have above. So let's see, right here. So this one. So this thing right here, where it joins C for blah, 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 and not let, what we're doing here. Oh, and then I did a split, so I turned it into, we won't do the split at first. So let's do this one, F9, and you get words. Let's see, print words, F9, right? So you get that, and then you can do a dot split to turn it into a, because that is a string, I can do the dot split method on it, and we can print it out, and then you have exactly what we had before. So this is a way of doing exactly what we did before without having to do that not letter stuff at the very beginning. Okay. The next thing is, let's see, let's put Alabama football in, and then see what these joins do to it using this string dot lowercase. So all this is going to do is going to go through this Alabama football, and it looks like it's going to take out the A and the F. That's the only thing I want to do. I want to have Alabama oot ball, right? So that's what I want to have. Okay, so we have issues here. Alabama oot ball, but it took out the space. And so all I did was I took the ASCII lowercase and I added a space into it. And if you do that, then you get exactly what you're looking for, right? Alabama space oot ball. What if I wanted to change these all to upper, right? So just notice how cool or neat are all the very powerful things you can do here in Python. Now I'm going to just, if I want to make them upper, I just do the method dot upper with the string, and it turns them all into uppercase letters. You could do all lowercase if you wanted to, but they already are all lowercase, so it wouldn't have been very helpful. There's probably a cap name. Here, let me see if that's one. String dot cap words, I think that's what it was. Let me try it again. Cat words. Yeah. Let's see if that's a method. I forgot to look at that. Hopefully it is. Okay. Oh yeah, we don't want to do that. Control Z this thing out until it gets back to what we want. So ASCII lowercase. Oh, I need to change this thing. Maybe not. Control. What does cat words do? So here dot cap dot oh yeah, so string dot cap the function, and I pass in here. Let's do this. So temp. Yeah, I'm really brilliant here. I just set that equal to temp. Let me see what this does. Okay, so I just wanted to show that if you, so if I just printed this thing off, so print, so F9, 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 and so what this thing, temp is this Alabama football, ball, I mean, that's all uppercase, and then cat words will basically, if I passed in temp into string.cat words, it will capitalize just the first letter on each one of those. Okay, let's go with something I think we've seen before, but I just wanted to rehash it here just so we see. What if I wanted to do print? So I'm going to very nicely print this thing. I don't want to print hand, right? So if you print in hand, well, then it just looks like this funky list with the string, the quotation marks in it. I don't like that. So we're going to do that join. So space dot join and maybe you could put some stuff in here like your hand is something like that. Yeah, don't like that. Oh yeah, so let's do this. Let's do that and then put comma in here and then put that. I think that's better. Let's see if that works. Yeah, okay, that's better. So what I did was I put a string in here that basically said your hand is, instead of doing your hand is 3 times or twice, you know, right? Put this your hand is in between each one of the cards. That's not what we really wanted to do. We want to say your hand is and then put a space in between each one of the cards, which came out over here. So that's neat. What if we didn't want it to be a space? If we wanted it to be something else? I don't know. I mean, it just depends on what you think is aesthetically pleasing. So if I did something like that, then we'll put one of those little bars in between each one of them. Okay, let's look at what if we had some Booleans. So is one, oh yeah, so we need to print off this alpha and this alpha list just to remember what they look like. So this is alpha, is this top one up here. So it's just a string of all the letters. And then the alpha list was the list of all those letters. And so the question is one in alpha? So that's a question and it's not. So hopefully that makes sense to you. Is A in alpha? Is. So A is an alpha. And then you can do the same thing with the list as well. So is A in alpha list? I know this is a true thing, or this is a list thing. Let's see, what else? Maybe A, B, C. It's true. Is A, C, B in alpha though? So I just want to throw this out there because some of you guys might be thinking that, you know, it checks and makes sure each one of these individuals are in there, but that's not true. What it's doing, let's print this off again. What it does is it goes in and finds A, B, and C all together and says, yes, it is in there. But is A, C, B in there? No, it is not, because there is no A, C, and B that are right next to each other. So I just wanted to make sure you guys saw that. And then if you wanted to know if A, C, and B are in there, or better yet, let me do this because it's a little bit easier. So if I wanted to know if A and C are in there, then you would have to write it like this. So it would be A in alpha and C. Then you would get a true. So that's what you'd have to do if that were the case. Let's look at some other methods for the string. What if I did this space AS slash new line So we'll print it so that it does this new line thing. You see it had a little space in there, then it had these random characters in there, and I'm going to take that one out because it. So F9, and then what if I take this, Control C, Control D, and then I did this thing called strip, and check out what it does. So now it didn't put the space in there, and it didn't do the extra line in there. So it basically takes out so strip is one of those methods that helps you get rid of spaces or new lines or tabs or whatever. All right. My favorite song is Sweet Home Alabama. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm not to my favorite song yet. We will do some other things as well. How about, you might have saw this above there. Is digit is one of the, is one a digit? Yes. Is A a digit? No, it is not. A dot is alpha, right? So I think we've done this one already. It is true. One, I should look at the one dot is alpha. Okay, that's false. It is. And then one dot is al num. So you can see some of the things that are in here, right? So I see this al nums. I think that's alphanumeric. And we'll make sure by testing it. So 1 is an alphanumeric, and it is. So that's alphanumeric. So A's or 1s or whatever. So that's another method that'll help you basically know if something's correct. So AB dot is alphanumeric, and it's true. Now, how about I get a false with that one? What if I put one of those in? Get a false. Okay, so you put something that's not alphanumeric in there. You could put a 1 in there. It should be true. You could put any alphanumeric or alphabet or number in here, and it should be true. You put anything else, and it's going to give you a false. How about one that might be, so is out. And that's false. Okay, I didn't know if that was going to be true or false. Okay. Favorite song. So now let's go to my favorite song. And what do I want to do? Let's go find. Let's do fave song home. I'm going to copy this because I'm going to do it a couple times. Dot, let's see, find. I'm going to find an 8. 13. What in the world does that mean? That means that 13 is the first time that saw a small a. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's the 13th spot. If you can 0 index 13th spot. 14th, there's a 15th one, and a 17th one. You're not going to get this one unless you tell it. Unless there's other ways to do that. Maybe there's a find all. I don't know. Find all. You'd have to do some extra stuff in order to get that, but I'm not going to worry about that one now. And then favorite song dot replace. So what if I wanted to replace all the A's with the O's? You could certainly do that as well. And you sweet home Alabama. So you get that. That's not, but it doesn't stick. So if I printed off favorite song again. So let me do that, F9, get Sweet Home Alabama. So all it does is it replaces it in whatever sort of comes to the screen here, and then it's gone. It doesn't stick as we've been calling it. And then what if I do so I can do big replaces too. So we can do a replace Alabama with comma Sweet Home West Point. And you see that it does, so it spots all of the Alabama in here, got rid of it, and replaced it with exactly what we put into this spot right here. All right, and then if we wanted to count the number of A's in this thing, you could do, again, Control V, dot count, and then A, F9, there's 3 of them. Is that true? Is there 3 of them? Well, it's 1, 2, 3 small ones, and then 1 big one. So one thing that you could do here is maybe favorite control V dot count A plus control V dot count A. And we know there's 4 of them. And then this last one is just combining those two. Control V. So what if we said, all right, I'm looking to find all of the A's in Alabama, regardless of if they're lower or uppercase. So the first thing you do is do the method lower. And if I did that, that would come out, right? So you see what comes out when I do that. And that is a string. So now I can do a method on that string that is called count. And then I can put the A in there and we get 4. Okay. That's what I got for this lesson. I hope you guys got something out of it. We will see you next time when we start talking about regular expressions.